Hey, cool down now. Cool down. Just please cool down.
Just a lot of people believe that you and Peter Obi have been having meetings for so long. What are we expecting from that? Is this related to 2027, sir?
I'm not going to talk about politics.
Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar denying that his visit to Obasanjo is politically related. The truth is, whether he accepts it or not, there is clear evidence that Atiku wants to run in 2027. And Obasanjo will never back him in 2027. Not even beyond that. Not that it matters who Obasanjo backs, but he has been consistent about not backing or trusting Atiku Abubakar with the presidency. The reason he backed him in 2019 was because of one condition: appointing Peter Obi as the vice presidential candidate. There was no other option. There was no other person on the ballot except Atiku Abubakar or Muhammadu Buhari. So he had to make that choice and say, okay, if he's going to be Atiku Abubakar, then there must be somebody that will accompany him that I can trust and Nigerians can trust, that if he sees something wrong going on, he can resign. He trusted Peter Obi that much. That was why he said, okay, if you can pick this man, I will back the candidacy. And Atiku Abubakar did it. Despite the fact that many governors in PDP at the time protested, he stuck with Peter Obi in 2019. Obasanjo has been very consistent, whether you like him or not. Even in 2007, when he was leaving power, and power was supposed to return to the north, and he made sure he picked the right candidate. And Yar'Adua proved he was the right candidate at the time. Imagine a president reducing the pump price of petrol. No one has ever done that. He proved Obasanjo right, that he was right about him, his character, the kind of person he is, his empathy, everything. And he also appointed Goodluck Jonathan, another man that is empathetic up to today, to be his vice president. So apart from the convention that power should stay in the south for 8 years before going back to the north, and also the fact that Atiku Abubakar will be 81 years in 2027, and the fact that he's not the right person at this time, considering the existential crisis Nigerians are facing under the Tinubu administration. So there are many issues, there are many reasons why Obasanjo would never back an Atiku Abubakar in 2027. And it's unfortunate that Atiku Abubakar has not learned any lesson from his political life after making several arrogant, impatient mistakes. Before we see all the mistakes he made, it seems that what Obasanjo said is actually true. He said it in his book that Atiku Abubakar works with marabouts. Marabouts are clairvoyants. That one marabou actually told Atiku Abubakar, he prophesied to him that he must be the president of Nigeria. So based on that, Atiku Abubakar has always believed that every political cycle is his opportunity to become the president, that it is his opportunity to actualize that prophecy. Maybe this is what is actually going on, because it doesn't make sense that an adult will continue making the same mistake several times over, expecting to get a different result. And he's about to make another grave mistake in 2027. Let's start with the time he had the highest chance of becoming the president of Nigeria, but he bottled everything because of his arrogance and impatience. That time was during Obasanjo's administration, and of course Atiku Abubakar was the vice president. Obasanjo and Atiku Abubakar came to power in 1999, barely 10 or 11 months after he came out from prison. Abacha detained him in the 90s, and he didn't know much about politics. The military propped him up. He didn't have money to even contest. It was Atiku Abubakar with other politicians that raised money for him. Yes, he was that wealthy at the time. Of course, that wealth, we all know that is still questionable, because how can someone that worked for customs be this wealthy, having private jets, homes abroad, many things? But that's for another video. So when they came to power, Obasanjo handed virtually everything to Atiku Abubakar to manage. He recommended many ministers. The economy was under his management. NEPA, NITEL, many things were being managed directly by Atiku Abubakar. That was how Obasanjo trusted him at the time. He didn't want to meddle in politics because he didn't understand politics. Atiku Abubakar has been a politician far longer than Obasanjo, so he trusted him. But towards the tail end of their first term, Atiku Abubakar started having ambitions. They started floating this rumor that Obasanjo agreed to do a one term in office, and that Atiku Abubakar is supposed to take over after the first term. And many governors of PDP at the time held several meetings and said they wanted Atiku Abubakar on the ticket in 2003. But that led to several negotiations to the extent that Obasanjo had to kneel down to beg Atiku Abubakar to allow him to go for a second term. This has been repeated severally. It actually happened. This is not hearsay. So from that day onwards, Obasanjo lost that confidence. He lost that trust in Atiku Abubakar. Because how could he do that? This was the highest chance he had to become the president after Obasanjo's second term. There was no other politician at the time that was so popular as Atiku Abubakar. In the run-up to the 2003 general elections, Obasanjo never knew that all the candidates under his party, that they were supposed to sponsor them, give them some stipends. Atiku Abubakar had already taken care of that. He paid senators at the time about 3 or 5 million naira, House of Rep members, even House of Assembly members, people contesting at the state level, even governors, he gave them money at the time. So he knew and up to today understands transactional politics. He was maintaining the political structure while Obasanjo was busy with governance, traveling abroad, doing many things. He didn't care about politics. That was why Atiku Abubakar wanted to do that palace coup. He wanted to force him out and take over in 2003. He was so much in a hurry to become the president instead of having patience to wait for the perfect time. After Obasanjo must have finished his second term, he would just beg him, Oga, I've served you for 8 years. Please help me win the party ticket in order to contest the presidential election in 2007. Because of the palace coup that failed, the relationship between him and his boss was shattered. Obasanjo didn't trust him anymore. In fact, EFCC was on him. That was the time they revealed the money laundering he was involved in with his wife. But like already said, these ones are for another video, not now. So he missed that opportunity on a platter. Obasanjo now started politicking, he changed the party chairman, started dismantling Atiku's political structure in PDP. That was how he found Yaradua and brought him and Goodluck Jonathan. The rest is history. And Atiku Abubakar ended up in Tinubu's party and he couldn't even win a single state. Another time Atiku Abubakar missed a huge opportunity to become the president was under Goodluck Jonathan's administration. In the run-up to the 2015 presidential election, Goodluck Jonathan, like every other politician would have done at the time, started reaching out to all political heavyweights, not just disgruntled members in PDP, but also in the opposition. He reached out to Atiku Abubakar. Atiku Abubakar condescendingly dismissed him. In fact, he refused to meet him in Aso Rock. Instead, he invited the president to come and meet him in London. Wike told part of this story during the 2023 presidential election. So you can see his arrogance, how highly he thinks of himself. Someone dictating to a sitting president. Atiku was no one that time. He wasn't in power, he didn't hold any political office. But he was just full of himself, feeling that he could condescendingly talk to the president at the time. Just like what he did during the presidential election campaign of 2023, he told people in Oka in a rally that it is through him that Igbos, an entire ethnic group in Nigeria, would actualize the presidency. Someone from a minority tribe telling a majority tribe that it is through him that they will actualize their presidential bid. Imagine, someone that has not been able to make himself president, promising others that actually have more voting capacity than him, they are more in population, many things, even influential, that it is through him they would actualize the presidency. It's so funny how this man sees himself. That's why he keeps making all the mistakes. Imagine where Atiku Abubakar would have been in 2019 if he had backed Goodluck Jonathan in 2015. Are you trying to say that Goodluck Jonathan is that untrustworthy that he won't repay the favor back to Atiku Abubakar in 2019 if he had backed him and he won in 2015? So he made a mess of the whole thing because of his impatience and a little bit of arrogance. If he had waited, maybe the story would have been different today. Even the party Atiku Abubakar left Goodluck Jonathan in the wilderness to go and join, he came third in the primaries. Yes, even Rabiu Kwankwaso beat him in the presidential primaries of the APC. So it wasn't as if he became more popular in the party he joined, abandoning the party that would have made him the president in 2019 if they worked together to find a way to win the election. So all the catastrophic mistakes he's been making all his political life, It doesn't seem like he learned any lesson from any of them. Just like what happened in 2023 presidential election. He wasn't supposed to be on the ballot because it wasn't the time for Northerners to contest the election. Muhammadu Buhari, a Northerner, was just rounding up his 8 years in power, and Atiku Abubakar thought it right to contest the presidential election. If he had won, the presidency would have stayed in the north for 12 years successively. So you can understand how arrogant he can be, and is about to make the same mistake again in 2027. So you can understand Atiku Abubakar's mindset. All the political moves and visitations he's been making since his return from Dubai this year, he cannot be doing it for another person. He's doing it for himself in preparation for 2027. Now to the evidence that proves that Atiku Abubakar wants to run in 2027. That's for people who feel that the evidence is not there, that there is not enough information to conclude that. The number one proof is what Rabiu Kwankwaso said a few weeks ago, that they are campaigning and spreading narratives and outright lies against him, that he has accepted to run for one term, Atiku Abubakar will run for one term, and Peter Obi will run for 2 terms. Obviously, considering Atiku Abubakar's age, he is supposed to go first. Yes, he will be 81 in 2027. But all these are lies. Why the need to lie against other candidates? It points to one direction. He wants to gain advantage in the north. He wants to capitalize on Tinubu's catastrophic failure. He feels this is the brightest chance he has to win the election and become the president. Is it going to work out for him? Or is it going to be exactly what happened in 2023? Because looking at the body language of Peter Obi, it's obvious he has refused all their overtures to join PDP or to deputize Atiku Abubakar. And if you want to be honest about who is the bigger politician among the two, Atiku Abubakar tried doing what Peter Obi did in 2022. He joined Tinubu's party in 2007, was it 2006 thereabout, and contested. He never won a single state. Okay, compare that to what Peter Obi did. He decamped from PDP, joined an unknown party at the federal level, and within 8 months was able to score the allocated 6-point-something million votes. In conclusion, 2027 will be the last time Atiku Abubakar will be on the ballot, because by 2031, the next general election cycle, he will be 85 years old. That will be too old to be on the ballot. But let's assume he succeeds in putting himself on the ballot in 2027. He would also fail like he failed in 2023. In fact, Tinubu might just snatch it again because the divided opposition will give him the advantage. Yes. And by that time, Nigerians will look back and realize that Atiku Abubakar actually helped in ensuring that Nigerians couldn't get the leadership they deserve. Thanks for watching.